It's Mary Beckman. Here we are, Metaphysical Meltdown. It's 2 o'clock on Tuesday. I'm thinking, what is time really? So we are so lucky today to have James Gilliland from the ECETI Ranch in Trout Lake, Washington. And the ECETI stands for Enlightened Contact with Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And he's not kidding around, this guy. We are so lucky to have him. He's extremely busy. I have no idea why he said he'd come on with me, but this is our second time. I interviewed him on my very first radio show a while back, and I have met this man in real life, and I think he and his beautiful ranch are incredible. If you have a chance, please go. I hope that he will talk to us about what he's got going on, and I have lots of questions. So if you have questions, you can go ahead and leave them on here if you want. Go ahead, and I've got my phone here. Go ahead and leave some questions if you want, and he may have enough time to answer. So thank you so much for being here, James. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. It's been real busy here on the ranch. I've been out, cutting brush and everything else and putting in fence lines. And luckily I remembered at the last minute to run in and get on the show. So yeah, it's pretty busy up here.
I thought so. I asked my guides a minute ago, are you coming? And they said, just a minute. So we knew you were. I knew you were doing something. Well, I've been there a couple times. Last time I was there, you were building all kinds of places to stay for folks and out beyond the pond.
Yeah, we've got those done. We got some cabins done right along the pond, and we've got the yurts. We've got those finished. We have three extra yurts, and then we have 3 cabins, and then we have the meditation rooms and the guest house, and a lot more lodging here. And we're working on the grounds. We've cleaned them up a lot, this year, and they're getting ready for more campers and things like that. So a lot of places to stay.
Very good. And I know you're getting ready for your conference too. That's July 21st, is it?
23rd.
23rd.
We had to move it up to the 23rd.
Okay. You have some amazing people coming this year and some pretty darn good food. Of course, I had to look at the food list.
Yeah.
So I've been there a couple times, and I was absolutely amazed with the amount of craft that we saw up ahead. The best experience, I had a couple experiences there that are pretty amazing. Probably the best one was after it was nighttime, and I don't think it was time for your show yet, your radio show. And a craft came very low overhead. And of course, all of us people that only get to see all that stuff once in a while, were out there. But you too, and then the gentleman from the Asceti, Australia, and John Vivanco, all these people I've seen on TV a million times, just like us little kids running out there to take a look. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful to see how excited you are, that you still are after all these years.
Oh yeah, I get excited when other people get to see them, because it's a life-changing experience. Because you hear, there is a convoluted energy in ufology, and there's a lot of posers, I hate to go there, but there's a lot of that going on out there, and people get sidetracked and taken here and taken there and spend a lot of money and everything. But here, you can come and have your own experience, and then it's real. It's for you, and nobody can take that away from you. And that's what I love about it, when I see people getting really excited and they see it, and then that cracks the door to, okay, who are they and why are they here? And if they haven't told us the truth about this, what else have they lied to us about? And it really starts opening people up.
My gosh, absolutely. I learned so many things, and I was only there twice. I mean, you guys aren't that far from Seattle, a few hours from Seattle, unless you're driving with me. Took me 6 hours to get there once. We went up the Gifford Pinchot Forest, got up to a bunch of snow, realized we went the wrong way. So if anybody's over by my house, there is 3 ways to get to the Asceti Ranch. I would only tell you go up by 5. Lots different.
A lot of people do that. They try to go through the forest, and I don't think it's open yet, but you can get stuck. And we had one guy come to the ranch, and he actually got snowed in on a blizzard and got stuck and was lost for 3 or 4 days. And they had to come and dig him. They finally found him and dug him out. And what was interesting is that he had this last minute premonition, I should just grab a whole bunch of food and bring it to ECETI and give it away. And if he hadn't done that, he probably would have starved, you know. So his own generosity is what saved him, which is amazing.
We really felt like we were supposed to be up there. We felt like we were having experiences going up there. We felt like we had them coming back down. And of course, my phone didn't work up there at all. So my GPS, of course, didn't work. Was winding around trying to find you, and I stopped at an address. It was 11 something something road. I got out. They had puppies. They had 11 golden puppies.
Oh, wow.
You know what? I'm right on the right. I know I'm going the right place.
Yeah.
Some things I saw is I saw a triangle ship at your place. I saw, actually, I remember asking that night in the circle, I said something about, you know, I just saw Commander Ashtar, and I know that he is misrepresented, shall we say.
Yeah, very much so.
That was absolutely him, because I've worked with him ever since. And he lights up the backs of my arms, and he comes in rainbow, and he does miraculous stuff. And I guess I would just say, I'd love you to say the words that you say as to how people can get to actually meet these folks, because somebody was just saying on here, Barbara says, can anyone see these ships, or do you have to be gifted?
Well, at the ranch, you know, everybody sees them, even the skeptics see them. And it really, we say the ranch is where skeptics come to die, because, you know, you can't deny what you see. Some try, but they'll try to dismiss them as satellites or things like that. But when they come in treetop level and power up, and you feel them pulse you, and you feel the energy exchange, that's a hard one to deny. You know, there's no way. And, you know, they make right angle turns and morph into 3 or 4. And we have them landing on the mountain and putting on quite a show, and then morphing into 3 or 4 and taking off and going into space. We've also had Rob Freeman came out with this. He calls it his W something, weapons of mass detection or something like that. I don't know what it is, but he's got everything. He's got thermal, the latest military stuff, night vision, everything on this giant system. And he came up and monitored what was going on here. And he said that after he left, he says, I have more questions than I have answers, because he goes, these lights, they're operating under intelligence. They're moving up and down the mountain. They're going over terrain that nobody could traverse. There's no roads or vehicles up there. It's real treacherous, like a lot of big lava boulders and cliffs and things like that. Glaciers, cliffs, you know, but you know, he just said that the light is starlight. It's not normal light. It's not man-made light. And so, you know, he says, well, I've ruled everything out it could possibly be. And he goes, that opens up a whole new, you know, book of questions basically as to who they are. But he knows, even from a strict scientific point of view, that these are unknowns. You know, they're not man-made light. They move intelligently. And the way they move and you know, they shoot off at several thousand miles an hour straight into space. You know, you can't, there's no reasonable explanation other than it's some kind of extreme technology or spiritual technology.
Oh yeah. And it's so darn clear. That's the first time I've heard in my life, well, except for up really high in Idaho, where we used to have a cabin, that I could see the Milky Way. It's the only time I've ever seen it. And it's beautiful. And then the next day, seeing the triangle ship. I mean, how many clouds are triangular? I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, we just filmed one the night before last. We had quite a flurry of ships come in. And it was really nice this last weekend. We had a whole lot of families here and a lot of kids, and the kids really brought the energy up. And they were just running around like crazy, playing, having a good time. And I loved it because, you know, there's every color, every race, every religion represented, having fun, playing. And I was watching these kids play, and I go, what the hell happened? You know, what happened here? You know, look at the kids, you know, they don't have any biases or there's nothing there. They learn that, you know, all that separation game is taught to them. So I was thinking about that. It's so important to go back to what we knew as a kid and drop all the social conditioning and programming and social engineering, and, you know, get back to the basics on what's really important.
Exactly. So some of the stuff you talked about in this book, Becoming Gods, which is from 1997. So I bought this book the last time I was there, and opened it, skimmed it, and then forgot I had it until the second I needed it, which was the other day.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to find some stuff. I listened to you and Corey Good recently, made a lot of sense to me. And then I had a lot of questions. If I would have had this in 1997, you talk about nearly everything a spiritual person would want to know what the heck is going on. You talked about ascension symptoms. You talked about every possible thing, every question somebody could have had. You talk about Ezekiel from the Brotherhood. Could you tell me about Ezekiel?
Yeah, Ezekiel is an energy. It's actually, one aspect is Ezekiel of old, the biblical Ezekiel. And he soul merged with Cassia, a feminine energy. And they soul merged and ascended. So it's a seventh dimensional being coming from the plane of bliss. And it's a golden white light energy that can morph into anything it needs to be or wants. It doesn't really have a form unless you need a form. But it's just the most loving, joyous, blissful energy you can imagine. And I was asking the Andromedans about who Ezekiel was, and they refer to Ezekiel as the God of eternal bliss. So in the ancient times, God has always been plural. Elohim, it's always been plural. It's never been a singular God. So it's a level of consciousness, basically. And there's a lot of beings that emanate from that seventh dimensional consciousness, and they're just one level within the one mind of creation, you might say, but it's a very high level.
Yes. And one of the times I was there, you had everybody get in a circle after your radio show. It's, I think, the first, maybe the second time I was there too. And you said different races of beings were going to step in, and they all feel different. They really do. It's beautiful how you show that.
Yeah, each one has a different energy signature. It's like when the Pleiadians come in, it's very cool, graceful energy. And it's kind of giddy, very, very loving, kind of giddy energy. I know the Orion Counts of Light, they are the same ancestry as the Pleiadians, but they went through all the wars, the reptilian wars and things like that. So they're a little more grounded, it's like if a Pleiadian incarnates on Earth straight from the Pleiades, they just get beat up down here because they don't have any comprehension for somebody that would lie, harm them, or steal from them, or manipulate them. That's not part of the reality. And so they have a tough time here on the Earth. Well, the Orion Counts of Light beings and those guys, they went through the wars, and so they're a lot more discerning, and they're more balanced, and they can deal with the negative energy much easier than, let's say, a Pleiadian soul that came in. And then you've got the Andromedans, which are mythologically known as archangels. They're 8 to 10 foot tall beings, and they have magnetic light bodies around them, and they come in quite a bit. And the ones I really love are the feline beings, that they've been coming in a lot lately. And there's a fifth dimensional one. A lot of people refer to them as Narshringa, and they're humanoid cat beings. And they're actually finding them in Antarctica right now when they had the flash freeze. They're finding remnants of them. They were here, they're pre-Diluvian. They've been here for a really long time, and the lion beings as well. And if you look into like Sekhmet, was a lion being, and she was from Sirius, from that system. They were the protectors of the gods, the protectors of the Anunnaki. But when the Anunnaki fell, they left. They said, you've broken universal law. You're not functioning under creational laws. And so they left. And they said, we can't be with you anymore. And they moved on. But the good news is the benevolent Anunnaki that never fell are returning with those lion beings to help reset, help with the total reset of the Earth and get things back aligned with universal law again, along with the Pleiadians and the Orion Counts of Light and the Andromedans and the Syrians and a whole host of others are coming now to, they're ancient ancestors, and they're returning to help, and people worry about that they're going to invade us. It's like the invasion happened a long time ago with some darker forces, and they've been here for a long time. And these benevolent ones that are very spiritually and technologically advanced are coming to help with the planetary liberation of those forces. And if you're really afraid of the invasion, it already happened, and that's all the people incarnating, from these higher dimensions. And so, it's all, we all have beneficial past lives that have been in these higher systems, these higher civilizations, and we're incarnating now on the earth to bring that wisdom back to the earth, to help add that consciousness and energy, that information to the collective consciousness, in the process we call ascension.
Right. And gosh, dreams of
Oh
ships
yeah.
in the sky have just been, I mean, I have that kind of dream all the time. And, you can look up there and you can see what's cloaked and what's not. Over here, we can see Mount Rainier on some days if, we're blessed. You can see all kinds of stuff going on up there. The cloaked up ships and stuff over the
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we get a lot of that. We have these ships, and some people call them cloud ships, some people call them lenticular clouds, and some are natural. They're clouds that are generated by the mountain, and some defy everything. Some actually look like the Voyager or something like that. You can see they take these forms and they light up from the middle, and they'll sit there for days and days, and see all the other clouds go by them. It doesn't make any sense, for them to stay there, other than there's something else going on there.
Exactly. They're parked for a minute.
Yeah.
So you have something that you talk about, all we need for contact is in ourselves, but you have a phrase that you say, open heart. What's the rest of it?
Well, you need an open mind, loving heart, and pure intent.
That's
You don't have to be a rocket scientist, and it's really all about the heart. And stay in the heart and focus on the higher consciousness and energy, and send that out with the intention of having contact. That's how you connect with these beings, because they're very spiritually advanced beings. A lot of them are very ancient. They've been around a very long time, and we need to rise to the occasion. And a lot of people come out and make demands, some of them do this, do that. And I said, it doesn't work that way. You invite them, and if they feel you've risen to the occasion, or your intentions are pure and you're trying to go, they'll help. They'll come and assist you. But we have to realize that they have a very high frequency. They're telepathic. They're very sensitive. It's very hard for them to be around some of us, that if we still are carrying a lot of this baggage, fear, anger, jealousy, all that stuff. If we haven't released the past, it's hard for them to be around us.
Yes, I understand that. And that's why everybody should get the book, because you talk about what needs to be done. So back in this is what blows my mind. 1997, you had this information. People talk about this stuff all the time, but it's actually happening at the Asceti Ranch. This is actually happening. So in your book, you say, no one is going to beam you up. I love that. Okay. Because everybody looks outside themselves. Well, I mean, lots look outside themselves for something. And that there are these alternative realities, and that we are so multidimensional. I have a list, hold on a second here. And those that believe that there will be no earth changes will not see them. I mean, we have been seeing the incredible changes without having the planes in the sky like we used to, right? Mm-hmm. Without having so many people out and about. It's so much different. It's so beautiful out there.
Yeah, there's so much. What's really funny about that book, it's even more of a mind blower, is I wrote that in 1982. Oh. And that's the publisher. That's when it was published with that group, that publisher. But the actual book, I wrote both Reunion with Source and Becoming Gods back in 1982. And that's the scary thing. I open it up now and I go, oh my God, this is all happening now. It's like, it warned about the Illuminati, the global elite. It told us what their game was, their plan, who they were, what their, when it was going to unfold. And it actually gave a lot of earth changes. It talked about the major quakes that were coming, the fires and the floods and things like that. But, all that stuff. The original book gave exact dates and times of a lot of major quakes. I've done that. I gave the San Francisco earthquake and the Seattle quake and things like that. And I gave the exact dates and times of all that. It's registered with, actually one of them's registered with Jim Birkeland, who's like the earthquake guy, But he recently passed over. I loved his work. He was great. He sent me an email. And he goes, I sent him and I told him exactly when and where it was going to hit. And I got an email back from him. How did you do that? And I told him, I said, I had a vision. I had a dream. I saw it. And I pulled some divining rods out and I asked, and I got it narrowed down to a date and time, and the time and the size and the magnitude and the place. I got it, down. But it's kind of interesting, but I kind of got out of the earth change stuff because I received so much flack, and people kept taking my information and changing it, and then I don't know, it just, and then they'd come and attack me after it happened, and say, you created it, and I go, I didn't create it. I go, thanks for all the power, but
Yeah.
I'm not that powerful. But it kind of was interesting because when I gave the San Francisco quake, when that hit, it really, I was in Santa Cruz at the time, and it really flattened Santa Cruz, the malls there, and they had serious, a lot of injuries and things. I think some deaths too. But when I talked about that, I went to a lot of the spiritual communities, the Unity Church there and everything. And I told them, like, look, I'm having these visions. This is when it's going to hit and everything. And I guess I really triggered everybody's comfort zone and their survival issues and things like that. So they got very angry, and they go, get out of here. You're creating negativity and all of this stuff, So I stopped doing it. I just said, what's the point? It's, and people later on, people that really knew me would listen, and I'd tell those people. But when I put it out to the masses, I got so much heat and so much negative response back. I said, well, I'm just going to write this book, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Leave
That's it. Well, when I read your book, as much as I could get done in the last little bit, I saw a lot of information that others are teaching now, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's dovetailed out, which I'm really fine with. I have no problem with that. I always tell people, just keep it positive and cover both sides of the coin, when you get this information out, and get it as accurate as possible. But if you're trying to further some other agenda, I'm not too happy about that. But, this is all about service to others and service to the planet, and giving people a heads up.
Okay, well, something from your book that really kind of dovetails into this is this: we reflect back to others what they love and hate about themselves.
Yeah.
I loved that. I think that
Yeah.
is why people have such a big reaction to you one way or the other.
That's happening. It's funny. We just had a meeting today and talked about that. There's a story where this kid asked the master, he said, I want to become the Christ. And he says, you do? And he goes, yes. And he says, they'll hate you. And he said, what do you mean they'll hate me? And I said, because you reflect back to them everything they love and hate about themselves. And you're also going to amplify it as well. So all the wounds and traumas and wrong conclusions from past experiences, those are on a frequency, a lower frequency. And when you bring your frequency into the picture, it starts resonating that and bringing it up. Mm-hmm. And it's, if you are going to master, self-mastery means mastering your need for acceptance and approval outside of yourself, and practicing loving detachment, not react to all that, what's going on. And so just know that it comes, there's no saying like a Christ has no place to lay his head or whatever. And it's because there's very few places that actually support that consciousness and energy. They usually are threatened by it.
And so one of the things you say is to set boundaries. I know that I have had to learn that. Just my little podcast here, I've had to set some boundaries, had to do it in family, all kinds of different things in my work and all of that. Because when you learn a little bit, we very quickly know we don't know much.
Yeah.
But yet we put out what we do know, and then it all starts coming in.
Yeah, it's the more you become enlightened, the more you realize you don't know, and then you find out how infinite everything is, and you just go, God, where do I start? So you just keep researching and keep getting more and more information and try to grow, in consciousness. But there's always more, and everybody has a story, and everybody's attached to that story, and we need to let go of that, and realize there's a lot of stories out there, and they're all true. They're even imagination is real on the level of imagination. So, who's to say what's real and what's not real? And that really frees you up, when you realize that. You go, well, that's your reality, have fun with that, but Yeah, you might create something because of that reality that you may not want to experience, but that's, I'm not going to say it's not true. That's where you're at right now. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. And especially all the timelines that are happening right now. There's a few of them.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that. I'll tell you an interesting phenomenon. It just happened 2 days ago. We get a lot of black helicopter activity and jets and things like that. Well, we had these 3 military jets come in really low, really hot. It happens a lot here, and they're scanning, trying to pick up frequencies and what's going on. And we've had helicopters chasing UFOs, and the UFOs always go up to the pilots, and it doesn't last very long. They usually leave. But it's pretty funny. But this friend of mine, Kathy, and I were out in the medicine wheel, and we're doing cleanup, and cleaning up the plating circle and stuff. And we went from the plating circle over to the medicine wheel. Well, these jets came in, and everybody was hollering and waving, going, "Look up," screaming. It was so loud you couldn't miss it. We didn't hear a thing. We didn't even know it was there, and we were out of phase. We're out of frequency. And it didn't even phase us. And that happens a lot here, especially when you're doing Qigong and the practices we do. People phase in and out. We go in between worlds. But another event happened in Hawaii. I was doing a group meditation, and Ezekiel's energy was coming in. And we were just hiring a kite and sitting in that room. And we had a 5.7 earthquake right under us when it happened. And so we went out after the workshop was over. We went out, and everybody was standing out in their robes and curlers and just panic, freaking out. And we go, what's everybody doing? Is there a fire or something? We're trying to figure out what's going on. And they go, no, there's a massive earthquake. You didn't, it shook the hell out of the hotel we were in. And they go, you didn't feel it? And I go, no. And the whole class, it was like 30 people in there. Not one of us felt anything. We didn't even know what happened. So it is possible to be out of phase with these events, or just be in different timelines or whatever, and they won't even affect you depending on your consciousness and where you're vibrating at.
So what he just said is huge, everybody. Where your consciousness is and where you're vibrating at, things that go on around you will either not affect you or it will affect you. This is huge. I hope everybody gets that. I've noticed that a ton. So my friend Lloyd is an energy worker extraordinaire, says that you calibrate at 1001, which is over the top of the Dr. Hawkins map of consciousness. And everybody, this is true. And this is why he pisses so many people off. And that's why he is such a beautiful being, that if you're ever in his presence, and I hope you guys go do that, and please be kind, because this guy has everybody wanting to come up and talk to him. And so I don't know if you remember me, I just stood in front of you in the I just said, where's the leader? And you said, take me to your leader. And we had a laugh.
Yeah.
So I came with the group of couple times, groups of people from Seattle. Yeah, I was cool though. I didn't bug you. I didn't bug you, because I just can't imagine being this guy, because everybody wants to know what he knows, and then it's kind of crazy. So could you please talk about what you and Corey Good discussed the other day? Is that cool for me to ask you that? I couldn't find the video again. You were talking about people doing and saying, and I mean, he really had a lot of awful things happen, and I know that you did too. And basically, you said that you give people about 1 million chances, and then you just don't. And I'm right there with you. I'm done. I'm done. I'm gonna love the crap out of people, but I'm done with people being awful. So can you tell me how the heck you got there?
Well, I'll tell you what's interesting is I believe everybody should have a chance to tell their story. And, I don't know everybody's story. It's like everybody's had all these experiences. And when I heard Corey's story, I go, that sounds interesting. I don't know if it all really happened or not, but all I know is the things he's talking about. I'm hearing the same things from people on the inside that I know that are very high up in the food chain. Some of the scientists that actually work with a lot of back engineered craft and things like that. And so they're telling me in the late 60s, we were going back and forth to the moon and Mars and exotic craft. And everything he was talking about, I go, wow, I've got pieces of all this, from all these other people I know. and it really resonated with me what he was saying. And he went through hell, basically, that what he had to go through, and now he's bringing all that out. Now I totally have, you know, admiration for him. There does seem to be a lot of groups that don't want him out there speaking and talking and you know, getting this information out. But he was being attacked so viciously that I kind of jumped on board, because I felt there's no reason for that. There's no reason to be attacking this guy viciously. And I like a lot of what he's saying, and I want to meet the guy. You know, I said, I want to meet him and shake his hand and see who he is, you know. And so I did. I invited him out to the ranch to come out and speak. And so he came out, and then all hell broke loose, you know, because just by inviting him to the ranch, all this wave of people attacking me and trying to discredit me and shut it down and trying to get him not to speak. And, you know, everything, you know, Peter Slattery too, you know, it's like that, you know, anybody that's part of the network that are really telling the truth and getting the information out, that are in service mode, are being attacked right now on a huge scale. And the way I can explain this is, it's hard to explain, and you really have to practice that loving detachment when you look at this. But there are forces, there are dark forces that are at play here. You can call them what you want. You can call them satanic, Luciferian, demons, you know, there's all kinds of names, reptilians, grays, serpent beings. I can go on and on. You know, I've experienced all of them. They are definitely at play here. They're unseen negative influences. And these are infiltrating every level of the planet right now. They're replete throughout the political arena, the religious arena, institutions, business institutions. And you go up at the top, and what you can see is you've got these unseen negative influences, and you have these global elite guys, and they're doing their rituals and their things to bring this energy in, to connect with it, because they want power and wealth at any expense. They will sell their soul to get it. They don't care. And then that goes in through the music industry, the Hollywood industry, you know, same thing, fame, money, wealth, you know, and you have to sell your soul to get into the top, you know, the top elite. And this is all playing out right now. And so you're seeing two things happen. You're seeing kind of like the white hats, the people, the ground crew that are bringing this information in and really focusing on harmony and peace and bringing everybody together and connecting and get out of all this division separation game. And then you have these other forces and their puppets. You know, you have the puppet masters, which are really unseen negative influence, and you have their puppets, you know, and I don't know if you want me to mention their names, it'll probably get you kicked off, but I'll just leave it. You know who they are, you know, just, you know, just say some people have been looking into the eye of Soros for too long with their hand out, and it's been very compromised since then. And there's other people involved in that, but it goes down, and now it's totally infiltrating the spiritual UFO community. That same energy is coming in, and the people that are aligned with that energy, those are the ones that are on the attack mode. And so what happened is, when David and Corey decided to leave a certain TV we won't mention, and they left because of that, it's in their letters and things like that. Well, those forces and their little minions all gathered together to come after people that are the telling the true light workers, or the true people that are getting information out and things like that. And so that's what's playing out right now. You know, that's what, and we talked about that. Corey and I talked a lot about that, and I was kind of, you know, I've been through that whole gamut too, and it doesn't really affect me because I don't care what people think about me. You know, I really don't. I know who I am. I know who I work with, and I know what my intentions are. And just, you know, I don't have any. They can throw all the dirt they want at me, and they do. You know, they're only establishing their own character and their own ignorance. It doesn't, you know. And the more they do that, the more it amplifies and comes back on them. You know, it's karma. I just let natural, our universal law take its course. But those groups are folding in on themselves, and a lot of them want to make a name for themselves by taking down somebody else. You know, they think they're going to become famous by grabbing all this slander and gossip and things like that and try to build a case, and then they want to take down somebody famous, and there's a lot of that going on too. But it's sad, and you ask people, people go, well, why don't they land and communicate with the masses? Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah, let's go land in Portland right now, or Seattle, or Minneapolis, or any of these other, it's, why would they come and land? Seriously, it's like we haven't risen to the occasion. We're not operating from a very spiritually and technologically advanced civilization where we've allowed those other influences to infiltrate almost everything. But now there's whatever you want to call it, there's a war going on between these darker forces and the light workers, and there's those trying to stop the ascension process and stop the vibrational lifting, the awakening healing process, and there's those that are supporting it and trying to make it happen. And that's basically in a nutshell what we're seeing.
do you feel like up there it's actually kind of over, or is it not over? Because some people say,
yeah, it's pretty much over. Up in the other dimensions, it's been over. There's been some major skirmishes, you might say, and the white hats or the light guys have won, and now there's a multidimensional experience going on. Now all these higher dimensional beings that operate from universal law are bringing their consciousness and energy and into the collective consciousness of Earth, and they're taking over and they're shifting the energy and helping usher in this ascension process. So it's, in the end, God wins, basically. Whatever name you want to give it, God is God, it doesn't really have a form. I call it creator, great spirit, just whatever name. But in the end, that the higher conscious and energy wins. It's just physics. Whenever you add a higher conscious energy, it's going to make the lower stuff rise to the occasion. And there's so much coming in. It's the controllers, and these guys, they're not frequency specific to the process that's underway. They won't be here. They're not going to last. And their karma is accelerating and bending in on them. And so they're going to take themselves out. They're going to be exposed. And that's the chaos that we're seeing right now. It's a good thing, because when all this energy comes in, it brings all this stuff up to look at, to heal, so it's not really a bad thing. It's just a process.
No, for a lot of us, we are absolutely fascinated on how this is how this is all.
Yeah.
To me, it's fascinating, and I just want to let you know I do have my place where when they're ready to land, I got a spot for them.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so it's kind of what you said on Earth. It's like what's happening in the human body. So some of us have drawn the line and we started really taking care of ourselves, but the body hasn't got the message yet. It's kind of the same thing. What we're doing is what Earth is doing too. So you, way back in 87 or 97 and 82, all the different, a long time back, you said, boy, we better start taking care of our body. We better just bring it all in, Well,
yeah, they showed me a vision, and in the vision, the Earth went through a pole shift, and the oceans went reeling across the land, and it was just a mud ball.
Mm-hmm.
It was very clean and fresh. Everything looked beautiful, but there was nothing really on the surface anymore. And it shocked me, when I saw that. And they said, "This is where you're headed. Get busy." And so I go, wow, how can we avoid this? And then I really started getting after it. And I know a lot of other people had similar visions and realized that, look, we can't sit around. We really need to change this and create a different reality and remove the energy that would create that, because nature always restores herself. There's an intelligence there, and she'll always do what's necessary. There's no saying that nature is slow to react, but very thorough, and that's what's happening. She's very slow, but she's going to be very thorough. If we don't clean things up, she's going to, so. And the same thing with the higher dimensional beings is that they've been extremely patient, with us. And now they're saying, okay, it's hands on, we're coming in and we're going to raise the frequencies, and basically it's light in, garbage out. It's that simple.
Yeah, that's why sometimes that's why it hurts too. I'm one that feels the light coming in. It feels like my body's gonna
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a couple times I felt I was dying and I just surrendered and I just said, okay, well, if I wake up in the morning, we're good. You know, I've already died a couple times anyway, so I'm okay with that. But, and then I wake up and I'm fine. And I go, what was that? You know, and I feel like I'm at death's door and all of a sudden I just pull out of it. You know,
Yes.
that's the body, it's resistance to the energy and our bodies are living in the past. And so it's taken a while for them to catch up and they're doing the best they can. And there's a war going on in the body itself because you got cellular memory that comes with the body and you have the soul coming in and merging and taking occupancy and your body has one place it wants to go and your soul has another. And so there's a bit of a little war going on getting everything into alignment, you know. So you know, it starts cleaning out your mental body with all the social programming and engineering and all that nonsense, and then it clears out your emotional body with all the trauma there in your emotional body, you know, any sadness and sorrow and fears and wounds and traumas and everything. And then it goes into your astral body and starts clearing out your past life records and things like that to gain the wisdom from it so it'll settle in the soul. So there's so many levels that are going on and so many little push and pulls and little battles going on. And that's what's happening. We're in this little multidimensional battle going on. And it's like the source itself coming in and to house, you know, to settle into this vehicle. And that's what we are basically. At the core of our center, our soul actually sits right next to the heart and it's connected to the source. And so it's the best way I can explain it is like creator, God, great spirit. It's the one consciousness that encompasses all consciousness on all planes and dimensions, you know, throughout the multiverse. And it's that spark that sits right here. And when we activate that and expanding consciousness, we start experiencing our multidimensional selves and we start remembering our past lives, everything. And that's part of that process. And at the end, I call it the atonement, or the at one-ment. You know, at the end, you become one with that one consciousness. And that's what the masters did. That's what all the Christ masters and ascended masters, whatever you want to call them, that's what they did. They became one. They expanded in awareness until they became one with the whole.
Yeah. Wow. And what a lot of work. And does it have to hurt so much? That's what I have to say. So
actually, it doesn't. It's our own resistance that makes it hurt. You know?
I completely no, I'm resisting.
Yeah.
I completely get that. So tools and techniques for healing negative influences. Okay, so I was reading these entities exist in the mental realm. So this morning when I woke up, I was thinking about you before I went to sleep. This morning when I woke up, I had this symbol. And I knew it wasn't a great symbol to be having in the morning when I woke up. I figured someone sent me a little something, you know? So can you really say a little bit, because you've got a big, long thing you say when you clear people. Can you say that for folks? I find it extraordinary.
Yeah, we have kind of a short version we use quite a bit. And we just, before we do any practice, no matter what it is, we clear the space and we clear out all unseen negative influences, thought forms, and mental concepts, everything. But what we do is we just kind of tap in, and these are power tools. You have to plug them in, you know, to the higher self, whatever you want to call it. And you plug in, you know, and then we welcome, you know, all entities that need healing. We tell them they're healed and forgiven, lifted and enlightened. They're filled and surrounded in the Christ light and the Christ love. And you can say Buddha light, Mary light, whatever, Kuan Yin light, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And we ask the beautiful many to take them to their perfect place, you know, and then we ask that all thought forms, mental concepts be cleared and healed, and that we're firmly within our own higher self, you know, our auric fields. But the short version is that we just go healed and forgiven, lifted and enlightened, filled and surrounded in the Christ light and the Christ love. And we ask the beautiful many to escort you to your perfect place. Go in peace. You know? And we send them on that way. And it works. It's a very, very ancient technique. It's been around for a long time, and it's tied into that Christ consciousness, and it works.
Isn't that a lovely thought? Because we don't have to be afraid when I see them and feel them. We don't have to be afraid at
Yeah.
all, because we can just love them and release them. Just like those people who are being stinkers in our life. Right
Yeah.
now, I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
we're going to love them and we're going to release them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, the thing about that too is that they have a mental body and an emotional body, although they don't have a physical body, and they're in the astral levels and on up in the lower fourth dimension. And so they can influence your mental and emotional body, and you'll have feelings. You'll start getting sick. You'll have all these accidents happening and all these things, even the addictive energies and suicidal energies that has multiple entities stacked on it. You know, to clear that, it's amazing how much people are being influenced and they don't even know. They don't
Yes.
even realize where it's coming from, and it's not even their feelings or emotions.
And that's why we all feel so much better after energy work. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
So I watched your video that's on YouTube, everybody, and it's just a little short one. It's when Ezekiel comes in. Wow, cannot miss that energy form.
Oh
That
yeah.
comes in. And those beings are here to assist us, and we just have to ask everybody. They are waiting and willing to come in to assist us. Absolutely.
Now, what I love about science, because science is starting to catch up, you know, and there are technologies that can actually measure this. And one is the Harold Oldfield technology, or PIP technology. And we've had several people that had that. It's a very expensive unit to get. And we had some people come here, a scientist, and he had that equipment. And that's how we filmed that, you know. And so you can see Ezekiel's energy come in. It's the golden energy, and it's a big vortex that comes in. And you see everybody's bodies pixel out into that same golden energy. When Mary comes in, it's pink. You know, the energy's pink, and you see the bodies pixel out into pink. And that's when you can heal very quickly and gracefully. But, you know, when the feline beings come in, it's green. You know, they come in on different frequencies. And so some of the platings are blue, or it just whites out, you know, it whites out the room. But you can tell by, when I was doing in Australia, I was doing a workshop and the guy had that technology, and I said, you know, the platings are here. They're coming in right now. And the whole room just whited out and on his screen. And he's going, oh my God, you know. And then all of a sudden, I said, these golden beings are coming in. And these are feminine energies, and it's cassia and others. And so it's a divine feminine seventh dimensional plane of bliss, like energy coming in. Well, on the screen, it turned gold. Everybody turned gold, and you can see all this gold energy come in. And each time when I was saying a different group was coming in, you could see their energy come in and the signatures come in. And it's funny because you can watch the person they're working with and their bodies, all of a sudden you see like a vortex coming around their body, and their whole body pixelates into that color.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I see color like crazy. So the other day I actually saw a triangular headed being.
I've heard about those, yeah.
Oh my Lord. And so how I know that these folks are the folks that they say they are is that I always feel good when I talk to them, and they're funny as heck. And that triangular headed being had great humor and a lot of just happy, dancy energy. So, and also the blue avians too. Happy.
Yeah. I haven't seen a blue avian yet. That's what I was telling people. I said that there are so many beings out there, and it's so diverse. And if you're working closely with certain groups, the other ones will back away and not interfere, because there's an agreement there, you know. And I've seen that a lot. They haven't appeared to me, but I've seen beings that are definitely in that blue sphere. You know, they come as like a blue sphere, or you know, I've seen every color beings and every shape, size. You know, it's almost too much to document. You know, even the elven beings are showing up. There's 6-dimensional elven beings coming in, and inner earth beings and all that, you know. And we have Bigfoot cruising around here on a regular basis too, as well. A lot of people have seen Bigfoot. I haven't done too much documentation on that. I had a few people that witnessed it, and I put them on the site, but I kind of feel like they want to be left alone. It's like they're their own nation, and they're extremely sensitive, and there are certain places where I know they exist, and I don't want people to go up there because they, you know, they need their privacy, and they don't, you know, Very few people I would send up there because of their consciousness. You know,
Yeah.
they would want to get a picture and get famous, and
Yeah.
you know, they wouldn't go there with the respect necessary to really connect with them.
And elder brother needs his privacy. That's what I always tell everybody. We might have heard some knocks while we were there. But
Yeah, they do. They'll let you know they're there, and they would come. And where I stay, there's 2 stories, and the upper story is my bedroom, and I'd feel this hand swishing across and I go, what the heck is that? I go out and there's no branches, there's nothing there, you know, and we used to put out peanut butter and sandwiches for them and things, and they'd come and take them, and we did that on a regular basis. But we put apples out for them in certain places, and they always disappear. And one guy here was really funny. He put apples out for them, and I think there was like 5 apples. One of them was organic and 4 weren't. And it took the organic apple and left the other 4 there, which was really interesting. And then a couple of days later, it brought an apple back and gave it to him. And the apple was massive. I never seen an apple. It was huge. And I go, where did that come from? He goes, I don't know. It was just sitting, you know, next to my tent. And so there's a lot of gifting back and forth. You know, they'll bring rocks and things and drop them off. Like, and you look at the rocks and you go, that's not from here. And that's from way up on the mountain.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That is really, really great. I love, I just call him elder brother. I do see him every once in a while as people's guides, etc. And well, we are getting close to the time that we have to let James go back. He is just one of the busiest people out there. But what was my last thing I wanted to tell you was so interesting. So when I went out into the circle to meet Commander Ashtar, had no idea that was who I was meeting. I was following a being, and it turned out later that was actually one of me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because this oh gosh, can't and so they would say, turn in here, turn in at the Arcturian gate, which is what I am. Turn in the Arcturian gate and go right like this, and that's where the Holy One was. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the things that happened to me when I was at your place, and I'm hoping to come back this year if I can possibly make that happen.
Great. Yeah, definitely welcome. There's so much going on, and we just now opened up, and we've got the big conference on the 23rd. Amazing lineup. We're just getting it up, so it's over at ECETI.org if you want to check out the conference and the lineup. And the books are all in there. Everything else is. So it's kind of funny because when I show people those books and they read them, they go, "Holy smokes, because this is happening now." And I tell them I wrote them in 1982, you know, and they actually got censored by one editor. I had all detailed information in there, and one editor took that out. He didn't want dated material in. He wanted more vague, and so unfortunately, you know, but I have the original one that was in print, you know, and it's all in there.
It made me remember there's an earthquake guy. Who is that earthquake guy that has the giant diagrams, and he says, okay, something's happening here, and so you know right here this is going to happen.
Oh yeah. God, I'm brain farting right now. I know you're talking about.
I used to watch him all the time, and it just disappeared. I mean, he was so right on. What was that guy's name?
Yeah, I watched him too. I used to watch him all the time.
He was always right on, but his stuff would disappear all the time. People were just, you know, when you've got good work out there.
Well, yeah, they kept taking him out, taking him down.
Absolutely. And then
I don't know why I'm not thinking of him, but I used to watch it all because he went off the air. We used to have a link to his site.
Yeah.
People.
Somebody.
Right after the show, somebody probably popped in on the show there with it, but.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, bless you so much. How do people get a hold of you?
The best way to go to ECETI.org, and that's the best way, and all the information is there, you know, and email is the best way to go there too. So the best way is through email, or you can phone. All the information's on the website, and so you can just go there and check it out.
And what I like, though, I have to ask about your radio show. I like to listen to you at 8 o'clock on Saturday night.
Yeah.
How do people find your radio show? What's it called?
Well, it's on BBS Radio. if you go to bbsradio.com, and that's one show. And then we have the ECETI Stargate channel on YouTube, where you can actually interact with the guests and myself and other people. And that's just gone insane. I mean, there's right now with the BBS group, there's, I believe, oh God, almost like 90 affiliates in 40 countries, 40 something countries that one's in. And then you got the YouTube channel, which is massive. It's taken off like crazy. You know, somebody was telling me that just this information gets out to, you know, a few million people within 2 or 3 hours, you know, so
Right.
it's, you know, because there's groups and subgroups and everything else. But yeah, they've just grown exponentially and they're taking off. So it's everything is really taking off, which I love. But you know, the thing about, I love that saying, the closer you get to enlightenment, the more the demons rear their ugly heads. And that's what's challenging all of us right now. The more light that comes in, the more information, the more the ugly. And just know it's there, you know, and it's on its way out. And don't pay any attention to it. Just keep going forward.
Absolutely. Perfect way to end this. Well, thank you, sir, for a beautiful hour. And I really appreciate that. I will see you soon. Good luck.
All right. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, much good luck with your conference.
All right. All right. Have a great evening.